Hello, I'm Matt Donovan, Chief Learning and Innovation Officer. And I just wanted to take a minute to share kind of an outcome I had of a really stimulating and engaging conversation I had with some of people that I really respect as we were trying to talk about and discuss, how do we see this shift or this impending change in the L&D organization and how we need to take a step back and really rethink how we look at the business and the value that learning and development as a division within an organization, the value it brings to the broader organization. And we were talking about this, and actually I started to use the metaphor. I love this book as a kid. I was growing up. It was called A Wrinkle in Time, and it was great because I liked it because it's not only had a great story, but also included science fiction as part of it as well. And there's this scene where an adult is trying to explain to the child the concept of what a tesseract is. And so they start off and they asked the child, they said, what is the difference, the shortest distance between 2 points in 2 points in space? And the child answers, well, why, of course it's a straight line. And I kind of, similarly to that, we look at that line between learner need and learner enablement, and a lot of what we do in L&D is really trying to optimize that line, that time in between, where the L&D organization and all its functions represents that line between what a learner needs and how we actually deliver it, whether we're rolling out a course, launching from an LMS, or rolling into a class, or whatever it may be. The time and the distance between those two in that straight line, we're always trying to optimize that as much as possible. But in the future, what we need to do is start thinking differently. So similar in the book, the adult says, actually, the shortest distance isn't really a straight line. It's actually when you bring the 2 points together. And that's referred to as the wrinkle in time, where in its essence, you're able to actually fold time and space on top of itself and bring that very learner need next to that learner enablement. And so I was thinking that I like this metaphor because this is the way we need to think about learning and development differently in how we start to integrate new technologies and new ways in which we're thinking about it to solve our problems so that we can actually bring those 2 points together faster. And what it does is it eliminates us having to constantly trying to tinker. Historically, we have to do it cheaper and faster in the L&D space. But if we think differently about how we do this, imagine when we can actually fulfill the need at the moment of request. And I think AI will enable us to really start to get to these truly personalized learning experiences that as a worker, employee, learner starts to do something and they feel they have a need, they will have almost instant access to what they need to be able to do that. And our goal shifts from being able to create all those long learning journeys and those long paths. Our goal will be to create the elements or the assets that go into that ecosystem. And what it does is then what allows the learner to be able to do is to actually call upon those on demand. And really what we're doing is shifting from that very slow organizational-centric approach to actually what we call deep learner centricity. So anyway, I love this metaphor. Let me know if you like it as well. But I love the book, and I like to bring metaphors to kind of help bring in how we need to be thinking differently. Take a step back. Instead of just trying to do what we were doing yesterday a little bit better, a little bit faster, let's take a step back and say, can we really rethink the overall offering? And as always, we'd love to keep the conversation going. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear about new ideas or even reflections on what we've been sharing. We know you all have great lived experiences in this field, great insights, wisdom to share. So definitely subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we look forward to more great ideas.